braided rivers, I didn't realise that we take them for granted, but we're actually pretty special.
They are, Rob. They're one of the a very rare ecological system globally, and New Zealand's the international hotspot for braided rivers, and of course Canterbury with its mighty rivers like the Waitaki and the Rangitata and the Rakaia and the Huranui and all of those, Waimakariri right on our doorstep. Represent an amazing collection of this type of environment, which is the envy of the world really, and we have some very special animals in it.
Because seriously, I mean, I've just done a mental trip around the world, and you're right, not many people have braided rivers.
Yeah, it's a comparatively rare environment, and we have lots of it.
We do indeed. Now, you're wanting to make an awareness situation because of birds.
That's right. The braided rivers are a highly dynamic environment, so the animals that live there, which are principally, we're talking about birds today, they've adapted to that highly dynamic environment, so they can cope with floods and the odd fresh, and nearly all of them breed on the clean braided river channel stones, so on the clean riverbed stones. They can't cope with weeds. So, and they're all endangered, some of them critically so. The black-billed gull is the most endangered gull in the world. It's critically endangered. That's the next stage to extinct. So,
and that's, we just look at those black-backed gulls.
Black-billed gulls.
Yeah, but these are the things that we just think that it's a seagull.
That's right. We think it's a seagull, and it looks very similar to the red-billed gull, which is the one that comes and steals your lunch from your seaside picnic.
Steve, that's the black-billed gull there.
Yes, that's the most endangered gull in the world. There's still good numbers of them, but their population has crashed by 80% in the last 30 years. So you do the math, in another 30 years there's not going to be any. They are specialist braided river breeders, so their headquarters are the braided rivers of the South Island of New Zealand, and that's the only place in the world that they breed, and they're only found in New Zealand. So they're our endemic gull.
So how many different birds are we talking about as far as species are concerned?
As far as braided river specialists, we're talking about 5 key species that are entirely dependent on braided rivers. That's the wrybill, the black-billed gull, the black-fronted tern, the black stilt, and then there are a number of others that are pretty dependent on braided rivers, though they may breed elsewhere as well, such as the banded dotter or the South Island pied oystercatcher. And the pied stilt. So collectively though, those braided rivers, especially in Canterbury, are one of the last remaining large tracts of natural landscape in the Canterbury Plains landscape, because we've converted everything else to cities, towns and farmland. So those braided rivers are really the only natural landscape channels between the bush and the hill and the wetlands of the coast that birds and animals can travel up and down. So they're incredibly important.
Now, I guess you're really asking anybody with a motorbike or a ute or whatever who wants to hoon, please just take it, just don't go there for 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's a bit more than 6 or 8 weeks. What we're talking about is stay out of the clean river channels. So it's fine where there's lots of scrub or, the weeds that we've introduced like lupin and things like that, or along the stop banks. But please, from now until the end of February, stay out of the clean river. Yeah, that's how long it takes the birds to lay, hatch, and then fledge their birds. Because remember, they're all sitting, these are all chicks that are going to be flightless for a few months, sitting on the ground, hidden among the stones.
And you can't see the little things.
You can't see them. People say to me, oh, look, I'll see the nests. No, you won't. Wrybills, for example, are exactly the same colour as the grey racky stones of our riverbeds. They're only a little bit bigger than a sparrow, and they lay their eggs on the stones with no nest. There's no nest structure to see.
Look at that on the screen there now.
Yeah,
I mean, how are you supposed to see that when you're doing 50 k's on a motorbike?
Exactly right. So we're saying that there's plenty of other places that four-wheel drivers can go. If they can stay out of the clean shingle on the riverbed, they'll be doing these incredibly rare and highly endangered birds of favour. And they're, the wrybill especially, that's a male sitting on his nest. Now you imagine that's a little bit bigger than sparrow but smaller than a starling. You're not going to see him, as you say, hooning up the river at great speed. I nearly stood on that bird before he fluttered off his nest, and I realised he was there. So that's walking.
And you were walking slowly.
And I didn't see him, yeah. So I had to back off and let him go back to his eggs. So, and this one is a black-fronted tern. Again, endemic to New Zealand, beautiful bird. only breeds in our braided rivers. So if we don't look after these birds during the season, the chances are that they won't get through. Black-fronted terns on the Rangitata River last year did not fledge a single chick in the study area. And that's mainly due to human disturbance and introduced pets such as cats, stoats, ferrets and rats.
That's tragic.
It is tragic. You know, it's such a beautiful bird. So on the Ashley Rakahera, that's a female banded dotterel, and again you can see how camouflaged her eggs are, and among those stones. They're designed to avoid predation by their natural predators, which is black-backed gulls and harriers and the birds that are natural predators. They're not designed to be hidden from introduced predators like cats and rats that can smell. And of course they've got no defence against us.
No, there's no defence against the tyre.
Yeah, no, they're exactly right, and that's the issue.
Tell me about your organisation and how it came into being.
Okay, so I got involved first with the Ashley Rakahera River Care Group, which is a fantastic group that's been going about 13 years that looks particularly after a section of the Ashley. And the good news is that with the trapping and the monitoring and the education they're doing there, the braided river birds on that river are stable in population, and signs are that they actually might be increasing in population on that river. On nearly all of the other braided rivers in the South Island, the populations of these birds are still seriously declining. So the Ashley River Care Group decided that while they were looking after their little bit of river, they needed to do something on a wider scale for all of the braided rivers. So they helped form Braided River Aid, or Braid, and I'm a member of both groups. So Braid, if you like, is now the umbrella organisation that is lobbying for awareness of the braided river issues. So that's everything from submitting to water extraction permits to lobbying for awareness of what river flows are needed to keep the rivers viable for the birds, and so on. All that lobbying and conservation work.
All power to your elbow, and thank you, because we need those birds and we need to be world leaders, so thank you very much indeed.